It's time to take your business to the next level, the boss level. These are the premier business owner strategies and successes being utilized by the industry's top talent today. Rock your business like a boss, a VO boss. Now let's welcome your host, Ann Ganguza.
Hey everyone, welcome to the VO Boss Podcast and the Business Superpower Series. I'm your host, Ann Ganguza, and today I am excited to bring back my very special guest co-host, Lau Lapides. Hey Lau, how are you?
Hey, I'm great, Ann. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing.
Love that.
Well, I think, having people that support us in our businesses is so very important to our success. Very important to our success. And I don't know where I would be if my husband in the beginning had not given me his full support in launching our business. For an entrepreneur, launching a business, especially coming from, myself, I came from a corporate background. I was used to getting that check every other week. And I had a very stable, I was going to make this amount of money. And I was dependent on that to, pay the bills. And going into the entrepreneurship of my VO business, all of a sudden things became very, I don't know what's happening today. I don't know what's happening tomorrow. When's my next job coming? And I'll tell you, the support of my husband was just invaluable. And the support of my family too. I mean, I know there's so many people, so many of my students who will tell me stories about, sometimes their families don't support them, or, I myself had my mother, God bless her. But she would say to me every once in a while, because she didn't understand exactly what I was doing. And she would say, honey, when you get a real job, I think it's going to help, and I would be like, it's okay. Mom, I'm an entrepreneur. And, and it was funny because it was hard to explain to, people who don't understand the entrepreneurship lifestyle. Thoughts?
Yeah. Yes, and it's almost unexplainable. I mean, you cannot. It's truly a lifestyle business. It's one that you live and you experience, and you have to be suited for it. Not everyone is suited for it. Many people want a 9-to-5 job. They want bennies. They want pension, and God bless them. And I'm happy that they know that. Like, I'm one of those people that knows I don't want that. So you have to be okay with not being okay a lot.
Yeah,
it's really important. Remember that famous book from the 70s, I'm okay, you're okay, that famous psychology book? Well, we're not always okay. And so that's the little edginess. That's the little on, the edge of the cliff that a lot of us love the dopamine kick and get excited by the risk taking of it all. So you have to be cut out for it, right, Ann?
Absolutely have to be cut up for it. Or if you're not cut up for it, you got to get used to it pretty darn quick. And so it's always one of those things, there's a lot of highs, there's a lot of lows. And for me, getting used to the lows and kind of driving through them, and we've talked about this on previous podcasts, really is a mental exercise in, pushing good energy out there so that you can survive. So let's have you introduce them.
Oh, I would love to. So I have Carol Alpert, who we were talking about on another podcast. I don't think Carol was here, so I love talking about her when she's not here, because then I can kvel, which is Yiddish for just give her honors and awards and accolades and kudos, because everyone needs a Carol. Like, if you could buy a Carol, you would buy it, put it on layaway. It doesn't matter how much it costs. It's so worth it, because she is my friend, my family, my support system. She's a sister I never had. So I can't say enough about Carol, professional actress and VO talent herself in her own right. And we have Dan Marion with us from Texas, who is just the bestest of the best. Fantastic person. And, we haven't actually known Dan too long. I don't know, maybe a year and a half. But yet there's always this feeling with people that come into your non-blood related family that you've known them forever. And he's like one of those people that even across the Zoom waves and even across the states, we feel like he's part of us and one of our family, and that we support 100% in every way. Pro VO, part of our MCVO division family, as Carol is as well. So that's thrilling. And he's a wonderful coach, as well as has technical prowess as well. And then Aria Lapides, who is in the house, and she is my everything.
She's in the real house.
She's in the real house because she's like, I call her my better half. She is my daughter, but has turned into my business partner and my best friend, and really just a spiritual little fairy cohort for me, to keep me floating and to keep me imagining and to keep me together in this whole crazy business we've created. And in her own right is now a professional actress and filmmaker and photographer, and is really incredible visual and performance artist.
So you have coworkers, you have 2 coworkers and a family member. So maybe let's talk, first of all, let's talk Aria, being a member of the family. What's it like for you being a part of the business and being part of the support for your mom and in this voiceover industry?
Oh, wow. That's a big question because it's especially because it's not just voiceover. It's so many things. It's all in acting, and everything that you guys said is so true. The importance of having people to support you, because in this industry, it's so blind. Like when you're sending a voiceover audition or a casting audition or a acting audition, it's blind. So all you have is your support team and how much they're pushing you and how much they're being truthful with you. And I could say that, even though it's like I'm supporting my mom, which I do, of course, it's like she's supporting me just as much, if not even more. Like she supports me in everything. And it's so important because there's so many different aspects, from technical to the actual acting values that have to be there, to what happens when I do get the job? Like what do I do? I would say that it's a really amazing, because I've been able to grow up in an industry that's very creative, very cool, like really, really cool. I know some people have family businesses that are, a supermarket.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to be in one that's like very creative, very like things are very open. You can coach. I've dived into filmmaking and producing acting reels and working with actors, and I gotta say it is really so cool to see like my mom every single day like have new ideas and new things that she's doing all the time. Like she's always so active, and she's right, it's a lifestyle business. She's almost never not working, which is wild.
And Anne, what's really amazing here is that both of my children, my son Sage, who's incredible, he's not in the industry, he's in a totally different industry, were homeschooled. And so I was bringing them up as I was starting the business and running the business, which was crazy. Like it was crazy town, you can't imagine. So who knew this crazy little girl who was like throwing Legos at me, one day it would kick in that she would be coaching clients, and she would be directing a film shoot, and she would be voiceover auditioning for Pixar. And it feels like that happened overnight, like that just happened overnight. And it's like how you and I feel about our clients. And it's like you see the grooming of that throughout the years, of the rapport, the relationship, the trust, the back and forth. And then all of a sudden it kicks into something in high gear that you see all of your hard work and investment in your business come alive. And I've seen that in Aria, literally since a little tiny girl to now. Like the business has just created this whole human being that like knows so much for someone who's only 19.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Now, I'm going to ask: Do you two disagree at times? I mean,
yes,
family-wise or work-wise,
yes.
And how does that play out? Because how does that interact with your businesses?
Can I start on this one?
Of course.
Because it's so funny that you say that, because like especially in like let's take filming for instance. It's like it's so hard, and that's so interesting that you asked that, because me and my mom were having this conversation last night of like being able to let go of control and let go of like knowing that you like, okay, I'll take it from this. You are not your work. Like, even my mom's business is not her. I mean, me and my house is separate from me filming, me acting, me doing anything. That's a separate entity from who I am. And there's like this level of separation that you have to do to be able to give over the control to a director or to your mom or to a casting agent to be like, that's a beautiful image. That's a beautiful take on this, but it's completely different, and we need you to do that. And it's like separating your ego from your work, and it's a really, really tough thing to do, especially from a young age, because you're like, wait a second, I thought my ego was the thing that was driving these creative things that are happening, but it's like, no, it's just an idea. It's constantly shifting and changing. So the more that you're flexible with it, the more you can get better at it, really. Yeah.
Yeah, Anne, I want to jump in on that one because that's a fantastic question. I'm actually going to answer that super straightforward because Aria recently secured new agency representation, really big, out of LA. And one of the meetings they had with me, because I'm her momager, and for those people who don't know what a momager is, it's a manager, a legit manager who's also a mom. Or it could be a dad, like a dadager, but I'm a momager. One of the first questions they asked of me in private was, do you guys fight? Do you guys fight? And he was like, he comes from literally the school that I come from. We're we're in the same program together. And I looked at him and I said, "Yep," because I'm also her coach for all of her auditions. And he said, "How does that play itself out? How do you guys remedy that? Whatever. And are you honest with her?" See, this is good for the VOs to be listening to, because if they deal with a manager or if they're dealing with a family member, they have to like start having these lines of demarcation, like what works for their personal relationship and what works for their professional relationship. And I leaned over and I said, "Yep," because I tell her the truth, because I want her to be the best. If she sucks, I'm going to be the one to tell her before anyone else does. Yeah. And he said, "Great, I'm glad to hear that. So we'll probably take her on then." Now, if I had said, "No, she's the best thing since sliced bread, I would never fight with her. In fact, she needs to be a star. In fact, they wouldn't have taken her. They would not have taken her." And this is like the deal for all VOs when you're dealing with agents and managers and the like. It's like, be honest. Like, be honest. You don't want to be the person who's a difficult person who's always causing conflict, and we're certainly not that. But you want to be honest and transparent about, when you're working hard on your craft, there's a lot of rocky road. There's obstacles. There's disagreements. There's arguments. Yeah, there is. Mm-hmm. And how do you work through it? How do you problem solve it? That's what we're hiring you for. That's why we want to work with you. Not because you're sitting in a place where you're angry or you're not talking to each other or it's not working out, but a place where you go through that wall and you get to the other side of it. And I believe that's what Aria and I has done through the years to be successful.
I just want to say, congratulations and kudos on that. And what you said I thought was so important was getting to the other side, right? Yeah. Because, it's your friends, your work partners, your, family. There's going to be times where there's probably going to be arguments, there's going to be anger, there's going to be hurt. And you have to be able to get to the other side of that so that you can move forward. And I think that was such an important point that you bring up, Lau. Absolutely.
Yes, and there have been many times, and I'm sure parents who are listening to this right now with their children who may be in the industry, or they're in the industry, or they're both in the industry, are sort of swimming through those very muddy waters, thinking, "What do I do? What do I do?" And I've been advised many times by pros saying, "Lau, you need to not work with her. It's really important. Don't work with her. Don't bring her into the business. Don't manage her because you want to have a good relationship with her." And I said, no. If all the families through all the generations could work together, we can work together. Yeah. It's just going to be a little bit more challenging, but we got to be able to problem solve that.
So let me just direct a question back at you, Lau. How has Aria helped you grow?
In every way. I mean, like, it's immeasurable. I can't even tell you, just from the idea of being or the fact of being her mother has opened up so many doors in me as a person, as an actor, as a woman that I would not have experienced if I had not experienced her. Not easy, very difficult road, but very, very, very spiritual, very the path less taken in a lot of ways in how we melded this whole thing together. And it just my stroke of luck, I think, that I had a daughter who had such immense talent in these fields. Because just because someone grows up in the industry and on a Hollywood set or wherever doesn't mean they have talent for it. It means they're connected. So she has immense talent, and much of which has nothing to do with me. Like, she's a visual artist. I'm not a visual artist. She's an amazing visual artist.
Even if you are talented, that's just one such a small part of it. Because if we were all just talented, then, we would all be in Hollywood. But it really takes that group of support. I mean, Carol came to the studio for me to help, shoot one of her tapes. And then, I'll ask someone to help be a reader. And it's because we've got such a tight knit. I mean, even the new Talent Inner Circle membership, that's created a completely new community of people, of voiceovers and people who are actors and stuff, to have a community of people to reach out, to ask, what do you think about this, and ask different questions. And and it's so important because even, I'll say this, when my mom's not coaching me, my agency can tell.
Okay.
They can tell.
That is true. That is true. I do want to say, though, based on Anne's question, which I think is a brilliant question and a hard one to answer, is that she echoes back to me what I have taught her and given to her through the years. So I know that it actually happened. So there's a documentation that happened. And she teaches me all sorts of things that I didn't teach her that I need to learn.
Yeah.
So it's now an authentic reciprocal relationship professionally and personally that she authentically knows so much more than I do in so many ways, that I'm growing constantly as a person, as an artist, as a business person, just learning. Because I think it's a myth that we're not learning from our kids or not learning from youth. It's really, we're learning so much from them. We're just maybe not aware of it, or we're not acknowledging it, right? So I'm very aware of it, that there's so much that she and others in that generation as well are giving back and teaching back and echoing back. So it's immeasurable. It really is. I would say she single-handedly brought the business to a whole other level that it may not have gone to without her.
That's fantastic. So now, Carol, you have a professional and a personal relationship with Lau. I'm not sure which happened first. So let's talk about your story. What about prior to meeting Lau and prior to working with Lau? How was your support system? Did you have a support system? And then what happened when you connected with Lau, and how has that helped you?
Sure. And it's funny, I was thinking about that before. So I had a very long career in the airline industry. I worked for about 22 years. And then I had left. I took an early retirement. They were offering that. It was Continental Airlines. They were offering at the time. I was a sandwich. My sisters and I are sandwich. So there was a little bit of taking care of the parents. My kids were younger. The whole thing. And you know what? You just went ahead and did it. And I'd always thought about voiceover work. And so I did a little bit of that. Did some dog care too, because it was easy enough. I'm like, oh, good. Now at least there's that cushion. And then I met Lau. We live one town apart, and there was a different location of the studio. It's still in the same town. She was offering a Meissner class. Now, when I first started voiceover work, now mind you, I don't have an acting background, and so I'd learned all the technical stuff. I had done a demo, but I wish I knew Lau then and learned what I learned then of what I know now, because it's just leaps and bounds. So I had gone in, done the master, and then I really realized how, gosh, there is just a universe of things that I need to know. And so from then on, I had joined the studio, and, like they say, the rest is history. This is 14 years now, Lau? 13 studio was about a year old. The studio was about a year old when I came, and so it's been a long time. And then
how old was Aria, Carol, when you came in? Aria and Sage, how old were they?
So, you know what? Because she's the same age as my daughters, Juliana. They're friends. So, I don't know. She was, six maybe? Six, something like that.
6.
Yeah. So,
wow.
and that was kind of the same thing too. So I was still involved with school too. You know, you were doing everything with that. And my husband's freelance too. He's in the, he's a strength coach in fitness. So we were both doing freelance things, but it worked out. You make it work. Like you said, you have your family support.
I was gonna say, so you had good family support. That's fantastic. It makes it different. I just know it makes it different. My husband has a corporate job, and I, and I left my corporate job to go into, my own business. And so that was a different kind of support relationship, but that's fantastic. I mean, your husband kind of already knew what it was like to work freelance. And so I think you had a good support system there, because if you were going to just, from the beginning trying to build up your business, it takes some time. I mean, there may not be work right away. And I think that is the critical moments in those low points, right? When did I get the gig? Am I good enough? I mean, all those questions I think we ask ourselves in the beginning of our careers, is this really for me? I know that's what I asked myself all the time. And had I not had the support of my husband, kind of saying, it's okay, I believe in you, just keep plugging away at it, I think I might have quit early on.
Yeah, and that's why I said to myself, let me just get something else on the side too, because I needed to know that I was doing that as well. But I think a lot of it is just, just really, and it was the opposite. I was the one with the corporate job before, and everybody in my family, and my, that were independent, they're like, oh, how could you go in? I wasn't 9 to 5 because it's the airlines and there's no set air, the hours are everywhere. Yeah. But you just knew that you want to do it. And it's just the timing was good with that as well. And so all these years. But the key is to really, one thing that Lau had said too, you're right. You go to the audition. What do I do? There's a huge vacuum of, like, oh, yeah, you can learn how to do voiceover work. That's such a surface thing. There isn't a lot except from people like you, people like Lau, who say, look, when you get in, before COVID, when you go to the recording studio and you're asked to do the audition, or if you're at home and you're doing this, what is the etiquette? What do I do? What are my expectations? One of the first times, because I did on camera as well, and I was getting work with on camera more than voiceover, so I didn't do as much. I always used to say, I said, gee, I wonder how I did. I was craving feedback. Yeah. And I'm like, where's Simon Cowell when you need him? I was like, if I stink, I stink, Yeah. I didn't have that. And now when I first got it with Lau, I'm kind of like, am I in the right business? Because I wasn't used to it, but I was craving it. And then I realized I really needed it. And you may not want to hear it, but let me tell you something. You grow and you grow and you grow. And so you really need that. And I think there's a little bit of a misstep or a failure out there right now, because everybody's so internet. You go on YouTube. YouTube's great for a lot of things, but you know what? You really need that guide and the trust that someone's going to say to you, no, don't submit that audition. Yeah. That is not a good audition.
Lau's not going to pull any punches. That I know.
Exactly.
That I know about her. I don't know her as long as you do, but I know she's not going to pull any punches. She's going to be truthful and honest, which I think is, I think that's so important. And coming from a source within the industry, that can give you, reliable feedback. Now, and your family members, they might be trying to say, it's okay. I thought it was great. That kind of support. That's a different kind of support, right? That at least they're on your side, and they're not either saying, well, we got to pay the bills, or how come I thought you were going to make all this money, or there's lots of different family support out there.
But Ann, it's funny you said this with the support. So my husband would sometimes I'd have to have him just hold the camera. I'm like, just record, or how does this sound? Oh, it sounds fine.
Right?
Not my daughter though. Yeah, she'd be like, what was that? She's the same age as Aria, and they're kind of the same on that too. But thank God. But I wanted to also say it's also finding people that you can trust. See, I may not be having a good gig, or I may not be having a whatever, but I'm trusting the people that are giving me the feedback because they're not doing it. They're not making it about them. They're making it about me. And that's the crucial point. Like, they're not going to say, like, Lau's not going to say, oh, you're just starting voiceover. Let me give you 5 lessons. And you don't do this either, Ann, but how many are out there where it's the snake oil? And it's just like, no, you are not ready. You need to do this. Your breathing's off or whatever the thing is. So the trust is crucial.
I want to jump in, Carol. I want to say something about Carol. Again, talking about her as if she's not here. I love doing that. So the thing about Carol that made her very unique, first of all, she was very recognizable to me because we had a similar background in the way in which we grew up. And we were at the similar stage of raising children as well. So we had a lot in common. So it went from a client-coach relationship fairly quickly into a friendship, which much of the time doesn't happen for many reasons. And I wanted that. I accepted it. I wanted it. I welcomed it. But what I noticed about her work ethic, which I had not seen in most people I had met, was she has a conservatory style work ethic. And even some in conservatory don't have it. That is, she works like just a horse, and that's part of our background. We both come from a Jewish background, grandparents who had nothing, came from the old country with nothing in their pockets, didn't expect a thing, and worked their tootsies off. So she came in with this work ethic that she did not want anything, she did not deserve anything, and if she didn't earn it, she's not going to take it. And she was that everything person that would do anything at any time for anyone. And I'm telling you, even to this day, I can count on one hand the people that I know like that. Because most are very self-centered, self-driven, and think about themselves first. Carol is very selfless and comes from a high work ethic of let me put someone else before me and let me fix it and get it done. And if I don't know how to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for you. And I don't care. And I'm telling you, that is priceless. It's worth more than any diamond that you could find in your lifetime because that's the person you trust, you love, but also the person who comes straight from the heart. And that's something we're missing in our world. I'll be honest with you, we're missing a lot of that in our world, that self-centered, lack of narcissistic kind of let me think about my community around me and do as much as I can for them before I do for myself.
Well, I think honestly that just it creates the good karma and just it just comes back around, and I think that can be very much a part of your success, in your career and life, and I think that really is a wonderful part. This VO Boss podcast was part of a giving back, and I hope that it becomes that sort of a thing that it becomes support for the community, and it can just be something that can just continue to give back. And I get so much from it myself.
And that's why we adore you, Ann, and we completely support you in this. We're all working right now together. We're not getting paid. It's a Saturday. It's whatever. Because we love what we do. We love each other.
I was so excited
love what we
for
do.
you. Yeah. You were one of the bigger names I first heard about. And I'm kind of like, Gangusa.
Oh, thank you.
So great. We got to get Dan in here. I want to hear from Dan.
Yes. Let's talk to Dan. Dan, tell us your story. And then how you got involved with law.
Well, this is interesting because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be involved with law.
Oh.
When I first started, I contacted you and you listened to my demo. Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing that I had was whether or not I was good enough, whether or not I had the right sound, whether or not I had any talent whatsoever. And especially considering, and I know this is taboo in many circles, so slap me around now, but I produced my own demo. And you were shocked at the quality of that home-produced demo. Mm-hmm. But you gave me so much positive feedback, it encouraged me to submit to a few agents. And law was one of the first ones I submitted to.
There you go. Wow. I did not know this story, Dan. Thank you for telling.
You're welcome.
Wow. Yeah.
And part of that apprehension, and I know what you and I had discussed, during our consultations that we had, and you were very patient with me. Thank you very much. But, it came into a fear on top of that when you're first starting out. It's a money issue.
Yep.
Can I really am I to the point where I consider anything I do an investment or an expense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's a big thing when you're an entrepreneur, right?
Sure, absolutely.
I was so petrified that everything was going to be an expense and not an investment, and I wasn't smart enough then. So being with Law, one of the nice things is, she gives me that kick in the ass when I need it, and I do, because I was always the one giving the ass kickings in everything that I did. Everything. Yes. I ran construction crews, was on a shop floor, airport security, law enforcement. I was a training officer to running large-scale global projects for a defense contractor. So I was always the alpha male. When you work for yourself and you're unsure, that alpha male gets diminished. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
It gets diminished.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily validation, but you need a shoulder and a support system to help you. And sometimes we get stuck on high center. So when you get stuck on high center, you need somebody to push you over that ridge and get you the rest of the way, right? And that's what it was. And you've talked about it on your podcast too, where diversification is huge, especially during the downtimes, like right now, I'm going through a downtime now for me. So I took it upon to get marketing coaching, so that's prompted me to open things up, video and audio production. That's something else I can offer when VO is lagging behind. So all those things I get encouragement from the entire VO community, but especially the ladies here, because I know I can be open and honest with them, and I'm going to get open and honest feedback. But they expect the same out of me as well. Anybody who's coached with me knows that, I'm going to tell you how it is, I won't sugarcoat it because there's no point. To me, that does more damage.
Sure.
But Law also opened that door for me for coaching. She let me sit in, offer opinions on several things. And once you get me going, I don't shut up. So I think that was part of it too. But now I coach regularly for her. And I also continue to coach because it should be a cradle to grave learning experience.
Oh, yeah.
I should never stop learning until I'm dead.
Yep.
And that's it.
That's right.
But the most rewarding thing about the coaching is watching somebody else flourish in what you have helped them do. And I don't know if you've, read lately, but there's a lot of back and forth about some of the coaching posts. And one of the things is you have to be able to have that fulfillment. It can't just be the snake oil salesman where it's just, I want. It has to be a total giving experience. Completely. Because we lose money when we coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coaching gigs pay a lot less than VO gigs.
Yes. This is true.
So it has to be a passion. And that's why it was so great to, when Law told me about today, I said, oh, this is a unique opportunity because for me today, it has come full circle. So thank you all.
And Dan is a really gifted coach. I mean, talk about having talent. Talent does play a part in our success. Everyone has different levels of talent. It's incredibly subjective and it's in the ear or the eye of the beholder. But there's no question he's a very gifted person in this industry, both technically and emotionally. And we love having him with us. And I want to share one moment, Anne, of the personalization that you and I have spoken about for the past weeks and how important it is in building the relationships with each other. And that is my son, who's a U.S. Marine, is going into law enforcement. And I'm constantly trying to find mentors for him, which isn't always an easy thing. And early on, when I first met Dan and I had learned about his background in law enforcement, I said, oh, I'll ask Dan, maybe he could meet with him on Zoom for a few minutes just to give him a little bit of, some wisdom, whatever. Mm-hmm. And he was just right there. He had no problem doing it. He was excited to do it. He was looking forward to that. And, this is a teenage kid. He doesn't even know, right? And when he did that, when he was connecting in that way, I said, this is a father, this is a grandfather, this is what we say in Yiddish, a gute neshama, means a really good, full-hearted human being. And those are the people that we always want to be connected with in our universe. Because those are the people, whether you're working or not working, whether you're coaching or not coaching, whether you're making a lot of money or not, they're the people that build you up in your heart and in your spirit. And that goes a long way, much farther than money oftentimes. It goes a long way into why we live this life and why we stay together and connect. And he's just one of those people.
And when I talk about success in your business, we're not just talking monetary success. It's success all around. And I do believe that, having that support, having that love, having that openness, and I think overwhelming what I've heard today is, honesty and willing to give. I think that is one of the most important characteristics we can have and be for someone to fully support them in this industry and help them reach success in so many ways. So bosses out there, if you are struggling right now, we're here at VO Boss, to help, and I'm here to help. I can connect people. I know a few people. I know a few good people that are sitting right here that I can help connect, and anything that I can do. And I know you guys, it has just been a wonderful conversation. I thank you so very much for everything that you guys have contributed to today's discussion. I think it's so valuable.
We love you.
We love you. Yeah. And I'll just say one more thing before we go, and that is just remember, everyone you help, everyone you work with, everyone you connect with in these ways, a little tiny piece of you lives inside of them and goes where they go. And so when we think, how do we fix the world? How do we help people? How do we do it? Just do it one person at a time. Yeah. Because that person is going to hold you inside of them if you're meaningful to them. And boy, will that explode over the universe. Yeah. And it's one person at a time.
Yeah. And speaking of making an impact, guys, if you would like to contribute to the growth of our communities in ways that you never thought possible, take a look at 100voiceswhocare.org to learn how. I'd love to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, IPDTL. Here we are connecting like bosses. Find out more at ipdtl.com. You guys have an amazing week, and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much, everyone. Mwah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Ann.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.
Join us next week for another edition of VO Boss with your host, Ann Ganguza. And take your business to the next level. Sign up for our mailing list at voboss.com and receive exclusive content, industry revolutionizing tips and strategies, and new ways to rock your business like a boss. Redistribution with permission, coast-to-coast connectivity via IPDTL.